Good morning, Deify here, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, where I'm pretty sure that I'm on the right save file right now. I mean, it's the newest one, and it doesn't have the most playtime, but I think that makes sense, because I think I outpaced myself redoing things, and not stumbling over words and all that, so I'm pretty sure this is exactly where I want to be, as we just finished the conflict between Shizune and Lily. Ooh, yeah, things got a little awkward there. But, yeah, and so we assumed Lily was looking for Hanako, and yeah, that makes sense with the line we're about to read right now. Hanako doesn't come to the morning class at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely in the back of the classroom. I have to tell her that Lily was looking for her if I see her later. After the events of this morning, class is pretty boring in comparison. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a bit of catching up to do, despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital, but I'm not feeling that enthusiastic about it. The clock at the front of the room sounds unbearably loud. The teacher hasn't said anything in over 7 minutes, instead opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equations taken directly from the book. The rhythmic clashing of chalk on blackboard seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they're right there in the textbook. I've been there before, I feel you. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry because I have nothing to do, so I stay for a while, reviewing what we covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with crowding in the hallways. I notice Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shizune is signing so fast that her hands make noises like swords cutting through the air. Maybe there's pent-up anger in there. Misha is trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing, it looks like serious business. Shizune signs to the point where her wrists crackle, and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she trips over herself, like she's dealing with tongue twisters, and then on top of that, she has to sign back anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Luckily for her, their business is soon finished, and the girls sit down on their seats again. I'm so tired! She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I'll use this opportunity to reconcile with Shizune a bit, without getting roped into the student council thing again, though I suspect that door is now closed for me. Festival preparations must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in this school seem to be taking the festival very seriously, so much more serious than their lives. They would rather die than not have this festival go on. No, I don't care for that joke. Could have gone better. Whenever I see people idling around before and after classes, they're always talking about their plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune scoffs at me first, as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me. But in the end, she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up, looking at her hands with slightly unfocused eyes. She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. That seems like a weird descriptor. Like, yes, we've known this is what Misha does from the beginning. She does it so well, it's almost like Shizune is actually speaking. Which is not at all how you've described it before, unless you're saying this one is different. Transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have practiced it vigorously. Well, of course, we're in the student council, you know, so we're pretty busy. It's an important duty of ours to ensure the success of the festival with all our strength. We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generations if the festival were to fail. That's why there must be no flaws. No, I think that was encumbrances. No, nothing that might make the festival short of perfect. Shizune's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are really oddly fitting of them. Oh? Hello? Yeah, Hanako's here. I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door. Hey! playing delinquent again? Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. Oh, she's backing away. Shizuna stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away to the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she's showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. What is it, Hanako? Has Lily been here? Sorry, haven't seen Sato. She, came by in the morning, though. Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shizune, who stares back at her with her usual studying gaze. What is she trying to do? Of course Shizune isn't going to look away, and she's intimidating enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is a little uncomfortable, watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behavior. This is what happens when two people of different extremes meet, it seems. Do you know where she is? If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom working on their festival project, but who knows where that woman is loitering at? Hanako nods quickly and retreats with haste. Oh well, good work, you scared her. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were working really hard to make the festival happen. And driving other people insane along the way. Well, good luck with that. I stand up to leave, making my exit before either of them manages to berate me any more for slacking off. The halls are somewhat quiet, as expected. Everyone must be in club meetings or at festival preparations. Or both. Shizune's words about being a slacker echo in my head. I feel a bit guilty about not contributing, but I seem to lack the resolve to do something concrete about the matter. For the festival, it's too late already, unless I count helping Shizune and Misha, which I naturally don't. And clubs. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a club type of person. Halfway through the way from the school building to the dorms, I spot a figure in front of the dorms. It's Rin. It looks like she's working on her mural today, too. I walk over to her, but she doesn't seem to notice me approaching. She's sitting on an upturned box, looking intently at the wall she is painting with a brush held between her toes. The mural has progressed considerably since yesterday, but it's still only half done as far as I can tell. More colors have appeared and the twisted human-like figures have spread and increased in number. I have to say, the style is quite eye-catching and very unique. Not that I would be knowledgeable about art by any measurable scale, but it's very nice looking nevertheless. I clear my throat to get her attention, but not startle her so that her concentration won't break. Wait. She doesn't even turn to check who it is. I'll wait. Just waiting. 15 minutes later, I decide that her concentration is indeed unbroken, and also that I have waited long enough to warrant poking her gently on the shoulder to remind her of my presence. Rin turns her head mechanically to my direction, ending up staring at my crotch level. Oh, very good. Oh, it's Hisao. She can tell? I would feel a lot less uncomfortable if she would look at my face. An astute observation. Hard at work, I see? The conversation starts as if I hadn't been there for a quarter of an hour already, but it's not a concern. At least it starts. It's looking good. It does. The layers of paint hiding other layers of paint, mixing and shaping the human figures, really create an impressive look. But Rin looks miffed. You shouldn't comment on works in progress. 7 years of bad luck. Sounds terrible. I guess I'll take it back then. Still, it looks good. I wonder if I get 14 years of bad luck for thinking that. Rin turns back to look at her painting and pokes it with a big toe. Could you mix some of this color? I'm running out of it. She looks down at a half-empty bowl with the remains of the same pinkish paint in it. I didn't really intend to stay and help her with this project, though. I guess I didn't intend to do anything much. I look at Rin. She looks emptily back at me. Just this once. Rin picks up another brush and trenches it in another tone of pale red. There are dozens of similar bowls all around her working area. From the looks of this scene, she could have been sitting there for hours. I wonder if she has. That would mean she'd have been skipping school, though, which I of course wouldn't put beyond someone like Rin. I pour a little bit of white and red into the bowl, trying to match the color with the one already on the wall. Can't seem to get it right. It's really inconvenient of her to not mix enough in the first place. Getting it to be exactly the same tone will be impossible, but at least I can try to get it as close as I can. Speaking of hard work, isn't that a huge workload for you? It's such a big painting and all. Oh, I'm not old and bitter enough yet to think like that. I guess you aren't. You guessed right. Legs hurt, though. They feel like slugs. Slugs made of sea slugs. Because of the position? Yeah, I like doing it in a horizontal position more, if you know what I'm talking about. Innuendo. Very good. But it can't be helped. Can't ask the wall to lay down. Saying that, she stretches herself a little, bending her legs back far more than a human should flex. It's astonishing how effortlessly she manages her body around. There's a small flinch in her otherwise blank expression, a hint of pain maybe, as she stretches out her calves. Rin must have the stamina and dexterity far above a normal person to be able to live like she does, but she's wearing out working on this. Why push yourself so much? Take a break or something at least. Continue tomorrow if it's bad. This gives her a pause. A long one, too. Feeling like a mental yawn. Huh. Rin.exe is, just restarting. Has crashed unexpectedly. Please wait while we start it back up. I don't think so, Hisao. I'm not pushing myself. Sure looks like you are. No. It's not about pushing or pulling or anything related to that kind of thing. There's this boy. A boy? Yes. Where? At the art club. And? He's blind. Oh? How can you paint if you're blind? No idea. So why is he there? That's the point. He is there. She really should speak more than one word at a time to make this feel more like a discussion, and less like an interrogation. He can't really do anything that you'd call art, right? But he comes there anyway, and paints. Why? I don't know. Why? I don't know. That's why I asked. So? He doesn't paint often, but I think his paintings are very interesting. I'm sure they are! I once tried that, painting with eyes closed. Wasn't too interesting, and cleaning up the floor took ages. Didn't try again. But he is becoming better at sculpting. I see. Maybe she was trying to make a point with this. Maybe she forgot she had one. Seems like the art club is full of interesting people. Not really. Alright then. Pretty blunt statement, and she totally missed the sarcasm. No? Just like I said, they're not very interesting. I usually don't have much interest in people who are not interesting. Maybe you have. Maybe. But that boy is interesting. Conversations with Rin are just something else. Like, girl, help me out here. Maybe I'm like that boy, or maybe you are. Maybe everyone is. Doing things you can't do just because you can? That's pretty deep, I think. And tell that to her. You're a deep one, Mr. Grinch. Nah, I'm a really shallow and thoughtless person. People say that to me all the time. Did you know I can only think of 4 things at the same time? No, but now I do. One of them eggs? Okay, no. Right now, I'm thinking of the second floor's girls' toilet, ice cream flavored ice cream, the middle toe, and a haircut. I'm going to need a haircut. Okay, I like that. Yeah, there we go. That's more of it. My hair is... it's a little too long to be Rin's, though, so it doesn't work very well. She shakes her head around vigorously, letting her short and messy hair ruffle wildly around. I can see that doing it is something she likes to do. She's got this big smile on her face, like, ah! Very good. We fall silent as Rin treads around absent-mindedly, poking some bushes around. The thought about the art club sticks in my head for a while longer. I'm feeling like I'm treading on very unknown territory with art, the way these meetings with Rin go. It's as though I'm starting a smoking habit or something. I should probably stop talking with her. It's not like I dislike her, despite the confusion her being herself causes, and I don't dislike art either. I've even drawn for fun sometimes. I just don't have a real creative drive or any technical skill. Hey, Hisao is me. Oh boy. So usually, if I were to draw something, I get white paper syndrome and just freeze completely. That, or I manage to draw something disfigured and promptly get frustrated at my inability to put the picture in my head down on paper and then call it quits without really even trying to make an effort. My god. I did not need this game to be so introspective right now. That's terrible. Stop it. Rin clearly doesn't have this problem, but she frustrates me in another way. Being with her is like looking into a mirror that doesn't reflect anything. It makes one question the sanity of the act. Rin sits down on her box, swaying from side to side, apparently comfortable with the uncomfortable silence. She's staring at me again, or maybe over my shoulder. I can't quite figure out where her eyes are focused. I'm thinking of leaving so she can carry on working undistracted, and then I can do whatever I'm going to do alone. It's not like I have anything that must be done today. Oh, shoot. Who? Nobody. I just forgot to tell Hanako that Lily was looking for her. Do you know her from my class? Oh. Her. The mystery toilet girl. That person is funny. I saw her going to the toilet 5 times during one recess 3 weeks ago. I'm sure it's the world record. It was very mysterious. That's why you call her Mystery Toilet Girl? What other reason could there possibly be? Well, if there is, it's an eternal mystery. I didn't follow her in there. Maybe it was the week before that. Could have been. Looking at her makes me hungry. Don't say that. At least, not around her. Rin turns to look at me blankly, as if she's not sure why I reproved her. But she doesn't acknowledge understanding any more than before, so I give up at this point. So do you want to go eat dinner then? No, not yet. Rin has turned her hungry gaze back to the wall, looking slightly more energetic, or at least slightly less lethargic than she did before. I don't really know. It's always hard to tell with her. Are you excited, girl? Help me out here. It's as if the wall is an opponent she has to vanquish, something she must overcome before she can indulge in dinner. This is the feeling I get. A weird sense of empathy overcomes me, and makes me smile a little to myself. For all her oddity, Rin is pretty cool after all. I'll be going anyway. Have fun! Rin has already grasped the brush and is dipping it into fresh paint, so of course she can't hear me anymore, or doesn't answer anything even if she does. Alright. Bye! I'm feeling tired, so I set my alarm clock to wake me up as late as I can afford, while still making it to the first class. The nurse's voice is almost nagging in the back of my head about morning jogs. I make a resolution to make up for it by going for a walk after school tomorrow. Emmy won't care either way, I bet. Spoken like a person who doesn't know he's in a dating sim. Please. She won't care. Yeah, let's see how that one works out for you, Hisao. Oh, boy howdy. Okay. Friday? Is it Friday now? Or are we already done with that? I think it's almost our first weekend. Oh no. Oh no, bathroom scenes are bad. I wake up and take a hot shower. Oh, good. Whew, alright. Back in my room, the first thing I see is the familiar row of medication bottles lined up on top of my dresser, and it makes me depressed, as usual. It's annoying. I thought I was okay. I thought I had made my peace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. Reflecting on it is only going to do so much. I've done this before, for months. It seems like it's time to get over it. If I allow myself to forget that my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it's a life in progress. That's how I'll rationalize it. I down the usual handful of pills, trying to push the sudden dreary feeling out of my head. Then I prepare to head out to class early, as usual. Why? As I step into the hallway, I notice Kenji coming around the hallway corner, stealthily making his way over to his own room with a large bag. As he sneaks past me, soundlessly like a ninja hiding in plain sight, I call out, "You call out? No! Leave him alone!" "Hey!" He jumps at the sound of my voice. Oh! Hey man, I didn't notice you there. I'm really tired." I think it's more like he didn't see me, but that's not the issue. "Where have you been this early? Shopping?" "Nah, I wasn't shopping. Sometimes I have to visit, the math teacher. Yeah, I figured it would be a good idea to find out when the next exam is, since he tells you in advance if you want." "So, then, what's in the bag?" "I thought I'd go shopping for a while I was outside. I need supplies to continue the fight against the vast feminist conspiracy." Yeah, sure, in that coming. Okay. "I thought you didn't go outside." "I wear a hat now." I decide to not point out that he's not wearing a hat. An awkward silence settles between us, and then Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open slowly, releasing a cracking sound into the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. He then sets the bag down inside his room, and then closes the door. "I'm surprised you went out of your way to find out a test date. Trying to take advantage of an opportunity to study is pretty diligent." "I never study." "Oh. I just wanted to know when the next test day was. I'm still going to take it, duh. I need to know so I know what day I can't afford to skip class." He usually sends out updates on that crap by phone, so I had to step out and check up on it. "And why do you have to go out when you can get it on your phone?" "I don't carry a phone." "Oh, good. This is exactly what I want to deal with right now." "What do you mean you don't carry a phone? You mean you just leave it at home?" "Nah, I don't use phones. I don't have a phone. Phones. I have no phone." "Okay, why don't you have a phone? How can you not have a phone? No phone at all? No phone? Can we please not delay this any longer? Just let the dude not have his phone, okay? I just don't like phones. Actually, I'm kind of scared of them. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of repressed trauma. But basically, when I hear a phone, I get nervous. It's my darkest secret. I have two theories on it. Either I have some fear of receiving some undefined, ominous, life-altering doom call, or I was beaten with a phone in the past. Beaten so badly I can't remember it. Beaten in the head. Well, where else could I get beaten with a phone that would make me unable to remember it? The ass? Okay, nice. Unexpectedly logical. I feel very depressed now. Sensing this conversation is more or less over, Kenji opens his door again and prepares to head inside. "Yeah, I'm going to sleep, dude. Have a good one. Class is going to start in like 20 minutes. I already did something today. Too tired to go to school. Hey, you need some lip balm? I accidentally bought two because I thought the store had started selling individual AA batteries. Thanks, but no thanks." "Whatever, man." He swiftly enters his lair, finally letting me go to the class. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's exactly what we needed. For a change, I'm not among the first ones to come to morning class. Well, that's because you were talking to Kenji. That's mistake number one. He can't see anything. If you see him coming around the hall, just dip back into your room. Instead, almost everyone else seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their faces now, though the names escape me still. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of school. I've even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overtly attentive. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. "So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food!" Everyone bursts out in laughter. So do I. "Yes, thank you, Mikado." But what I meant was it was more the remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Muto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. "Hisao! I'm going to make you a one-time only, super extra special lunch offer. Emmy's homemade lunch boxes, and the privilege of enjoying them in private with two bombshell beauties. Her overtly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway. A remarkable feat since it's full of people. Yeah, Emmy won't care. Emmy strikes a very confident-looking pose as though an attempt to one-up her own ridiculousness, puffing out her very modest chest and making the V for victory sign with her hand. Oh, I can't puff out my ridiculously modest chest. Also, my hand's way too close to my webcam, just like covered up the whole thing. Sounds delicious. To what do I owe this honor of being invited? You stood there looking really lost and sad, so I thought you could use some company. That's probably the most depressing reason imaginable. So how about it? You're probably really lonely, and would eat that awful cafeteria food all alone otherwise. I'm kidding. Sure, I'll have your lunch offer, with pleasure. Let's go to the roof. The roof? Why the roof? Because that's where we eat lunch. And if I don't get up there, then she'll probably wander off, and then I just know she'll go hungry because she never packs a lunch for herself. Who will? Come with me. Without answering my question, or waiting for a response, she grabs me by the arm and drags me through the hallways. I attempt to make conversation on the way. Why do you have an extra lunch? Emmy smiles guiltily. Actually, it's yesterday's lunch. I slipped in a run at lunch and forgot to eat it. Huh. Yeah, who runs for fun? Disgusting. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs. Hello. Very good. Yipes! You scared me, Reen. Wait, isn't she... Oh, yeah, whoa! Whoa! Who knew? Hello. Noticing that Reen is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Emmy. She's that friend of yours? Reen has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds, until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited Hisao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does that mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof, while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere, a watchdog barks at a passerby, or perhaps just a normal dog. Think about that one, Hisao. Dogs are pets. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only 1 short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly. I haven't had time to think about how I really feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeps over the rooftop, makes me shiver. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces one big and two small lunchboxes from her bag. Come on, Hisao, what are you waiting for? She's beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. Oh, well, hello, ladies. How are you doing this close to me? I seat myself on the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all three of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch, as promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. It's like she told you that it was Emmy's homemade lunchboxes. It's good bento, Hisao. Eat it. Wow, this looks really good. Yeah, that's what I said. It's really good bento, Hisao. Eat it. Thanks. I make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I'm in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cow, just like, shut up, sandwich, just shoving it. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. Huh? My morning run always works up an appetite, which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. She is super flirtatious right now. What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choke on my lunch, trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Oh, I love this conversation. This is a good one. Great way to end this episode. Rin seems content to let Emmy answer that question. Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes and a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we've got all our limbs. Get it? Oh. So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. That's one of my favorite Rin lines for sure. It's so blunt and perfect. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of? This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better, and yet confused? I mean, you've got no arms. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch to herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by... Inflexed! I'm inflexed by how pressable she is. That sounds weird. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow, I don't think either Emi or Rin. I have so much trouble with the Japanese R's. It's so weird going back, especially when there's like an English R so close right there. Somehow I don't think either Emi or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So, Hisao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places. For the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Emi grins a 1,000-watt grin. Pleased by my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emi looks mock offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve! She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will just keep eating lunch all alone. I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heartrending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emi pouts. I don't have puppy dog eyes. Kidding! I was kidding! I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location, and the company's okay too. Emi frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again! I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rin shrugs, as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we'd better get going. Ooh. The three of us head down the stairs together. Oh, good. I was like, oh, do I count a fade transition? Whew, it worked out. There was a blinds transition there, marking the end of a scene. So, I am going to leave this episode here. No choices that time, surprisingly. But it's Friday. Festival's in 2 days. I guess we just have to play through Saturday and then things start picking up a little bit more. Somewhat. I mean, I know that there are some routes with less choices than others, but yeah, I mean, having played this game before, I know that the festival is kind of the pinnacle point where you determine your route. And I haven't seen like half of the decisions I've expected so far. Like there's the one decision which will send us on Emi's route, like guaranteed, and that's why I'm pretty sure there's one decision that will it's either Emi and maybe a bit of Rin or anyone else. And it's like, which one? So that's why, like I said it in one of the first episodes, it's very easy to get one girl's route. I was talking about Emi's. Her route, I'm pretty sure that's where, just from my personal experience and from glancing around the subreddit, most people are like, hey, I'm a first-time player and I just finished Emi's route. And I'm like, you too? I feel like it. But I'm going to leave this episode here. I'm supposed to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Until next time on Katawa Shoujo, goodbye.